Most of us probably use single tooth isolation for endodontics, but the use of quadrant and full arch isolation with rubber dam is probably not as widely practiced as it should be. I think the reason for that is the techniques aren't always as simple as they could be. We're going to look at two simplified techniques for quadrant and full arch isolation. Now for the quadrant isolation, we stamp from the second molar to the other central incisor in the other quadrant and punch those holes. For the full arch technique, we punch the lateral incisors and cut between those two holes. For the quadrant technique, the holes in the first and second molar are joined, so you cut between them. For the full arch technique, you cut between the two lateral incisor holes, either in a direct line, as my assistant has done here, or in a curve mimicking the arch form. The real secret to both these techniques is the use of the Royco non-latex FlexiDam, which is much more flexible and stretches much better than conventional latex rubber dam. This is your armamentarium for the technique. Blue mousse from Parkel. This is my preference, however you can substitute any bite registration material. A rubber dam frame. Now we're using winged clamps here for the full arch technique. My actual preference for the quadrant technique is the 27N, which is a smaller clamp. It isn't being used here, but if you can find it, use one. Obviously we also need rubber dam and also a dry tip. We're going to go through both these techniques in real time so you can see how quick they really are. Place the clamp on the second molar. I would normally use a 27N for this quadrant technique, but a molar clamp is going to work just fine. Get your FlexiDam and place it over that clamp. Now we've got two holes punched, remember, and they've been joined. We're going to stretch those two holes, in this case over 5 teeth. You can do it over 4 teeth or 5 teeth, it's up to you. This FlexiDam is really slippery, so you don't tend to need to floss it between the teeth. You can pull it down, it'll go through the contacts quite easily. Put the frame on, cut the rubber dam away from the nose, and you've pretty much finished it. The beauty of this technique is that because the dam stretches so nicely, it just sort of tightly adapts to the teeth and the tissues and gives an almost perfect seal. For the full arch technique, clamp the second molars. Now in this case we're using winged clamps, which is my preference. You've got the rubber dam there, which has been punched in the lateral incisor position and cut between those two teeth. You put the rubber dam over one molar, then over the other molar, and then you pull it forward so that it goes over all the anterior teeth. Now because you're stretching it quite considerably, it'll ride up the buccal surface of the teeth into the sulcus. Sometimes you'll need to adjust it a little bit and push it back over the dam so more of the dam is gone distally, as you can see there. That's created a very nice isolation of the field. There I am just pushing more of it back. Get a dry tip, flex it underneath the clamp, as you can see there, making sure it's outside the rubber dam at the back. Then you get blue mousse or any other bite registration material, squirt a little bit under the clamp, that helps to keep it in place, seal the posterior border, and then go around and seal the dry tip on the palatal. Now it's actually a lot easier to do this if you don't have to keep your head out of the way of the camera, so this really is the slowest you should ever do it. The rubber dam forms a nice seal with the dry tip as a backup, and you've got a really well isolated field. Pretty much 14 teeth in view that you can do anything with. Removal of the registration material is simple. Generally any moisture will be absorbed by the dry tip. It's just a great technique and I'd certainly recommend you give it a go.